Dr. Williams, thank you, and good morning to all. Great opportunity to be kicking off this fabulous conference here. This is the third time now that I've had an opportunity to speak before the ARPA-E Summit. The first time was back in 2011, and then in 2013, and now here in 2016. I think this is probably by far the largest gathering that I've seen, so I think it demonstrates the support and the enthusiasm that ARPA-E has built over the years, which is good. What was once a fledgling startup program has come into its own, bringing together our best and brightest minds to bridge the gap and pursue genuine breakthroughs. And whether it's your showcase featuring over 250 technologies or the 34 ARPA-E projects that have gone on to draw over $850 million in funding from the private sector, this program is clearly finding success. As was mentioned, I'm the chairman of the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee, and one thing that I hope I leave with you this morning is the comfort or the assertion that I am clearly in ARPA-E's corner. I am very proud to support this program and the innovation and the pioneering work that so many of you undertake on a daily basis. So with my time this morning, I'm going to speak very quickly to the reasons why I support the mission of energy innovation, and then perhaps tell you a little bit more about what we're doing in the Senate to promote ARPA-E's mission right now, because as keen as I am on what you are doing here, we still have work to do so that others understand the good work of ARPA-E. Among my colleagues, I can tell you that there is still perhaps more education that needs to be done. So, for the importance of energy innovation, I'm going to start with an observation here this morning as well as a recognition. The observation, which is shared by many others, is that energy innovation is inextricably linked to our nation's future. Innovation is capable of delivering long-standing benefits both for our nation and for the rest of the world. We know that it creates jobs, it boosts growth, it adds to our security, and increases our competitiveness. The most recent example has been what we've seen with the shale revolution, which has dramatically increased the amount of energy that we produce in our country, but that's not all that it did. That revolution also helped lift us out of a recession. Today it continues to help lower energy prices, brings a wide range of jobs back to our shore, and works to reduce the emissions that are blamed for climate change. And I welcome all of those benefits, but I also understand that none of them would have been possible without innovation, without the development and without the application of new technologies by American researchers and entrepreneurs. It really does make me thankful to live in a country that has committed to a strong system that promotes innovation by individuals, by private companies, colleges and universities, our national labs, and programs like ARPA-E. But the need for continued innovation is as pressing now as ever before. We have significant challenges that remain unaddressed and significant opportunities that will allow us to remain the most innovative nation in the world. Thomas Edison said it best when he pointed out, we don't know a millionth of 1% about anything. Now, there are some who are watching the presidential discussions and saying, well, that was true. But there are countless discoveries yet to be had that can change the world, that can boost growth, strengthen our security, and protect the environment. And I want our country, I want the United States to be the one to achieve them. Yesterday it was shale, but through the work that you are doing, tomorrow it could be advanced battery, 3D printed cars, a new pathway for fusion power, or something that many of us have just never even heard of, never even dreamed of. So we need to keep pushing for those breakthroughs. And as we do, We need to remember those who need them most. I come from an amazing state. Alaska is big, it's remote, it's small population. As I travel out to our small villages, I see firsthand how the high price of energy destroys opportunity. It just makes life even harder than it already is in a sometimes harsh environment. And while we have too many that are facing energy insecurity in our country, we should also remember that more than 1 billion people around the world live in energy poverty without reliable access to electricity. Just a couple weeks ago, I brought the Secretary of Energy as well as 5 of my Senate colleagues to Bethel, Alaska, in the southwestern part of the state. We had an opportunity there to have a field hearing on energy innovation and what we're doing in different spaces to, again, be that innovator that can accept these challenges in difficult environments and make a difference. And a focus on how you deal with an area that isn't connected to anybody else's energy grid. Community like Oscarville that we traveled to across the frozen river in vehicles kind of freaks some of the people out. But that's how people travel there because we don't have roads. But in addition to not having roads, you're powered by diesel generation. That's not sustainable. That doesn't work. So how we can be creative in helping to facilitate these microgrids, the technologies that take a little bit from the wind, a little bit from the sun, a little bit of storage and combined with the thermal heaters, and all of a sudden you have a community that's sustainable. This is what can be exciting for so many. This is where you all come together to make these dreams come real. We need to find ways to ensure that energy innovation continues and accelerates. We need to ensure that our scientists and our engineers can pursue their dreams and their ideas and turn them into reality for the good of all. And I am just one of many policymakers at the federal level who is committed to do just that. Even before I became chairman last year, I was convinced that it was well past time for us to advance new energy policies through an energy bill. The last time that the Congress passed major legislation in this area was in 2007. Just as a point of reference, that was the same year that ARPA-E was created. So I started last year with conversations with other senators to see what their priorities for energy legislation might be. We worked with Senator Cantwell literally arm in arm throughout the whole process. Our staffs not only worked to share their ideas, but the listening sessions that we held around Washington extended as far away as Quigilangok, Alaska. After the listening sessions, we held legislative hearings, a series of them, covering a total of 114 bills from members on both sides of the aisle. Then it was weeks of bipartisan negotiations to see what would make the base text of our bill even better. There were many who doubted our ability to find common ground on energy policy, especially after so long without legislating. But what we agreed to in committee was a strong package that focuses broadly on efficiency, supply, infrastructure, and accountability. And we call it the Energy Policy Modernization Act. Very boring, no catchy acronym. I don't know if we're going to be doomed because we didn't do that, but it's the Energy Policy Modernization Act because that's exactly what it does. Within it, we address everything from our declining mineral security, which is critical for new energy technologies, to electric reliability and renewable resources such as hydropower. We reported this bill from committee last July, strong bipartisan vote, and it is now before us on the Senate floor. We have added to the good work that the committee did by accepting a total of 32 amendments by voice or by roll call vote. We did that several weeks ago. We're now poised, hopefully we're poised to be advancing that measure very, very shortly on the floor. Innovation is not a separate title within our bill, but instead it's literally a river that runs through it. We promote technology transfer. We seek to make it easier for small businesses to access national labs. And we renew and increase the authorization for the Office of Science and the Department of Energy. And through the leadership of Senator Alexander, our committee also agreed to reauthorize ARPA-E for 5 years with 4% increases in funding each year. And then more recently on the Senate floor, we accepted an amendment from Senator Schatz from Hawaii that will increase ARPA-E's authorized funding even further. That was a good amendment. It was an important one. And it wasn't just because I was going to be coming and speaking to you all. It was important for the right reasons. But again, it was at that vote that I heard from way too many colleagues to make me comfortable. What exactly does ARPA-E do? So we need to be working to make sure that ARPA-E's mission and what ARPA-E has been doing is more clearly understood. If our energy bill becomes law, ARPA-E will be authorized at $325 million a year through fiscal year 18 and at $375 million a year through fiscal year 2020. That's a big boost. And if we can provide that level of funding in the appropriations process, ARPA-E will have even greater responsibility to ensure that taxpayer dollars are spent wisely. Based on the results that we've got so far, I've got every confidence that that will happen and that this program will continue to grow. Now, some of you have heard or read that our energy bill has been held back a little bit longer than we would have liked, certainly longer than I would have liked. But we are working hard to resolve those concerns so that the bill can move forward. We're almost there. And when we finally do make it to that finish line, when we finally do get this measure signed into law, it will be a true victory for American innovation. Again, I want to thank you for the opportunity, the invitation to be with you today, for your support of ARPA-E, and for all the work that you are doing to develop breakthrough energy technologies. You truly do make a difference. Thank you very much.